I grew up in the rural South, and my parents are so sort of critical to my foundation. A lot of people say that, but it was a sort of particular view of the world that they gave me, even in that kind of a narrowness, in a sense. They experienced the world in a small way, but it was a big world around generosity, and even given not having a lot of resources. But one thing they taught me and modeled for me, which I try to do for others. First, they saw in me things I couldn't see, and they provided this kind of invisible infrastructure, if you will. I didn't know what was going on, of support, but also of safety. So I could experience a world that they never could have dreamed of.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of King Crush Thursday, the series where we highlight and uplift Black men, because frankly, not too many people are doing it. My name is Val Gay, and I am super excited to bring this brother to you today. I have been trying to get this brother for quite some time. He's a college professor. He's a researcher, an educator all around. He is a community member. He is a deeply caring person, and he's my friend. And please welcome Dr. James Earl Davis. Hey, James.
Hey, Val, how are you? It's such a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you are here. And James, as you know, that this conversation really is a part of a larger narrative where we're trying to actually debunk and expand the current myopic narrative around Black manhood and Black men, because we know that what we see in the media is not all of our community. And so we're creating this repository of 6 questions on our way to 100 answers by 100 different positive and successful Black men, with the hopes one day of a young king who may or may not have positive Black male role models to come to in his life, to come to this repository, look at these same 6 questions and see a myriad of answers and hopefully find guidance in it. And then for the rest of us who are neither male or even Black, to be able to look into this repository and also expand our minds beyond what we see normally in media. And so I'm so glad that you are here with me here and with us. And with that, I'm gonna get started with the first question, which is,
good.
What does manhood mean to you?
Val, this is a really good question and a great way to start this conversation. Again, I appreciate being here, and I appreciate you. For me, manhood is multidimensional. It has to do with identity. It has to do with relationships, and manhood has to do with sort of issues around humanness, humanism, and spirituality. Let's talk a little about that. So, for me, this idea of identity is informed by traits such as independence, self-determination, accountability, sort of being resourceful, sort of making the best of things, even in difficult situations. So that's manhood for me. But manhood also emerges in relationships and in communities. Manhood is about sort of contributing to the common good and giving beyond one's sort of oneself. sort of altruism I would suggest about manhood. And the last part, this idea of manhood being sort of connected to spirituality and humanity. Manhood is about sort of treating people with fairness, kind of having equitable approach onto the world, and for me in particular, a manhood is also about acknowledging and recognizing that of God in other people.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, James. So, James, who and or what is important to you?
Yeah, I think my response in the first question about manhood may say something about who and what's important to me. There are lots of things important, and I've recently I've talked about my parents. And, I grew up in the rural South, and my parents are so sort of critical to my foundation. A lot of people say that, but it was a sort of particular view of the world that they gave me, even in that kind of a narrowness, in a sense. They experienced the world in a small way, but it was a big world around generosity, and even given not having a lot of resources. But one thing they taught me and modeled for me, which I try to do for others. First, they saw in me things I couldn't see, and they provided this kind of invisible infrastructure, if you will, that I didn't know what was going on, of support, but also of safety. So I could experience a world that they never could have dreamed of. So for me, family is sort of a part of a larger kind of relationships. That's what's important to me. Relationships, being in community. I think this community piece is really important. I'm often reminded and known for some of my work and my professional work, and those contributions that I've made are important. But I've made other contributions that are important to me. Contributions to organizations, be that community-based organizations or national organizations, and also individual sort of contributions to people, to young people in particular. And I think that aspect, that what I call sort of generativity, that ability to sort of generate possibilities in others. I think that's important, particularly for the generations to come. I think role modeling is important to me, what I've tried to do, but also an extension of that role molding, sort of molding roles that we think are traditional or status quo, or sort of there's expected. You're in this position, this is expected of you, but to kind of mold a different way of thinking about, like what I do as a college professor, or this profession, or this kind of relationship. So in addition to role modeling, also role molding.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, James. So James, how do you want us to see you?
Yeah, I want you to see clear. So in the Zoom, it's my face clear. My pimple's not showing. I have a pimple here and a pimple there. Yeah, so actually that goes to some clarity. So I want you to see me in a clear kind of way. And this is the kind of big picture. Often people see you for how you present yourself, be that in writing or presentation. But I'm more than kind of what people see sort of professionally. I want people to see me as sort of kind and generous, very generous. And when people see in me that in community is important, again, relationships are important. I'd love people to see me as a great colleague, supporter, but probably more important than a colleague. people that are connected to me, my circle, my network of friends. I wanted people to see me as a really good friend, with a listening ear, and someone that's there, and a supportive person. I am. Yeah, I also don't want people to see me as sort of taking myself too seriously, so which sometimes I do. And I probably I worry too much about things and stuff. But I'm a work in progress, if you if you will. I think at the core, when people see me as a fully in a fullness in my full humanity, which can be complicated and contradictory, but at the end of the day, authentic, I hope.
Ah, yes, I love that. I love that. That's excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So, James, what is your epic dream?
Epic dream. These are dreams that have kind of sort of profound effect on you. So epic dream sort of creates kind of awareness in an unforgettable kind of way. That's interesting. So when I think about interesting, I don't think of myself in a dream. I think of other people in those dreams, because I always want the best for other people. And but maybe that is my epic dream to. Okay, this is good. So I often think of a dream of being in a past life, a past time, like move and sort of back in history, so you could have sort of influence or change the course of history in a way. Um, uh, and I said, well, why I think of that? So I was watching a movie recently, and I said, oh, that's the 1930s. I said, if I were just there and I could say this or have that kind of influence, it may change the life course of so many people, right? So that may be at the core of my epic dream, to be in a position to affect a change for others, for someone else, to have a consequential influence on other people. So that others like myself hopefully can live a life of authenticity with opportunity and no regrets.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. So now you have been answering question 5 implicitly throughout, but I'm going to ask you explicitly. Dr. James Earl Davis, who are you?
Well, that's a simple question. I often think too much about sort of work, and so I'm more than my work and my professional contributions. I'm I I I I'm a kind person, I think, and I'm a feeling person, and I'm sensitive to probably too sensitive, but I think that's me. I'm relational, so I give. I think that's important. The more I give, it all comes back in return to me. I'm community minded. Given what I do, I'm often sort of considered, so I'm a sort of educator, teacher, researcher, and I train and develop people to be researchers. But I see myself as a learner. I want to learn something every day. I've been in an administrative role for the last year, and every day I come in and I say, I want to learn something today. That's out of my comfort zone. I don't see myself as a leader. Sometimes other people do, but I do want to learn about leadership, about sort of competent sort of administration work. So I try to learn and put myself in positions to always learn, and I learn best from other people. So again, I think that goes to the power of relationships. But someone else I learn from too that's really, really important. And that's learning from me, James Earl Davis, because I learned from my younger self. I learned from me being in different situations, different contexts, because who I am continues to emerge over time. So the James I'm learning today is a different James than I thought I knew 20 years ago. Give me in a different situation, a different context with different people. There's new learnings about me that will emerge, and I always pray that I would be sort of willing and acceptable to learning all parts of me, even the parts that I may not like initially. Yeah.
Wow. That's us. Wow. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. And so here we are already at question 6, which
Oh, we're at the end.
right? Look how fast it was. The question 6 is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't, or you wanted me to ask you that I didn't? In other words, what did I miss?
Right. So you're so cerebral, Val. So you didn't ask any like questions about things I like what kind of car. Yes. Well, actually, I don't have a car. I gave up my car to my brother some years ago, and I said, "This is my contribution to the planet. I'm going to go without a car for a year," and it's been over 10 years now. So also, sometimes people say, "Oh, what movies have you seen lately? What have you what do you like to eat?" And so that gives kind of a window on people and their personality. So that's some of that. So you didn't ask me, "Oh yeah, what brings me joy and peace?" Yeah, that's good, I think. So joy comes with food, um, a maple walnut ice cream. But I'm lactose intolerant, so I limit my ice cream intake. So only, you may not believe this, I only really consume ice cream during the summer months. So that's so my idea is to kind of work myself up to summer. And speaking of summer, probably the most peaceful time, I love warm summer evenings. And that reminds me of my childhood growing up in the humid South. So, and I love walking in the evenings and during the day. And my best place for walking is actually near water, and I think that's kind of the universe bringing me back to kind of my essence, right? So, but I also like NPR and pound cake with lots of butter. Yes, so I'm a cookie monster as well. So yeah, those are trivial things that provide some sense of kind of who I am, of things you may have missed. But you asked the most important and provocative questions, Val, and thank you, and thank you for this opportunity for me to kind of be a part of this really important project and expanding kind of our ideas and notions of who Black men are, and who we are and our contributions, and who we are in our families, who are in relationships and communities, and who we are in the world. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, thank you. That was so awesome. I'm so grateful, having known you for so many years and having worked with you. And, one of the things that I appreciate about you, I was just telling someone about this last night, that you have a genteel strength to you. And I will attribute that to your parents and the guidance that they gave you. Um, when I was fortunate enough to work with you at the College of Ed, and some of those meetings, I would just watch in
Yes.
amazement how, frankly, people would come at you, and it often seemed way too personal, and it often seemed it had a twinge of the R word. I'm like, oh, here we go. But I loved how you handled it. You always had that smile. You were just unshakable. But make no mistake, you got across your opinion, and it was beautiful to watch. And I learned so much from you, and I'm so grateful to have your presence in my life. I'm so grateful that you are actually living your epic dream right now, because the impact that you have, not only on your students, but those of us who get to work with you, but certainly your students, and then the students of those students, is exponential. And I know the impact that you've had on my life. I know the impact, I've seen impact that you've had on others. It's just so wonderful. And I'm so grateful for you. And I just honor you, my king. And I just pray that you just are deepened, that you're widened, and that you become more of who you are, James Earl Davis, because we need more of you in this world. And so I just thank you. And I thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. And if there is a positive and successful Black man in your life, and you want to see them highlighted in this forum, please click the link below or in my bio, fill out the nomination form, and we'll take it from there. We are on our way to 100 successful and positive Black men. We're almost there. And I say success. And success, I should be clear, is not what someone does for a living. You could be a college professor, a Morehouse man, and all of the other accoutrements that Dr. Davis has. But it's actually not just about that. It's about the content. And James said it very well earlier. It's about the content of one's character and the impact that they are having on the people around them, be it the nuclear family or the wider community and everything in between. We want to talk to those brothers. We want those brothers to be a part of this narrative. So I'm so excited. Stay tuned for next week for yet another amazing king. And in the meantime, please remember to spread love and have a great day. Thanks so much. And James, thank you so much. That was so awesome.
Thank you, Val.